My Chibits, my Chibits, my Chibits. The hype I feel right now after that finale, this cliffhanger, this episode left me on. Boy, the freaking hype. The hype from my boy, Shiro. Like, what's so badass? It's, oh my god, the final part before we get into the ending song, you see a close-up on his face. And you see his hair going white. You see some of his face, his skin is kind of changing. And we already see him turning in to my boy Archer. I'm like, my boy. It looks so fucking badass. And this boy, oh. And the epic part about all of this, okay, just seeing that, the way he just gets introduced at the end of the episode, like the way he pops up and all that, and you just see how he's walking, you see how his bandages are coming off and all that, it just looks so fucking badass, dude, it looks so fucking badass. And when he gets there and he's like, I'll take it from here. And then at the end, in the preview of next week's episode, he's like, so one guy wants to sacrifice one to save the entire world. I don't care if I have to become the entire villain, but I'll save you. Now, it was worded a little bit differently, but the point still stands. The way he stated that, like, oh my god, this is so badass. Like, it's completely different if you think about it from the normal outlook of how Shiro is. I mean, look, he says that he will become the villain. He's fine with becoming the villain, and he said someone to sacrifice one to save the entire world. That kind of goes along, or goes against the ideals somewhat that Shiro has. So thinking about it like that, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on there? But I'll save it for later. I'll save that for later. The main thing is that this freaking episode, that finale is just so good. Like, I'm sorry to say it, the episode was enjoyable. I mean, a very good episode overall, but that finale is the big chunk of meat I'm just so hyped right now for, because just that stuff, just seeing Shiro pop up, seeing his transition to like an Archer type look and all that, makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. And if it's just me, I don't know if it's just me. I already posted my thoughts on Twitter, but if you notice the final scene when Shiro's walking and you see the behind him and all that and the way his stance is, it looks very similar to his stance in the Heaven's Feel route. Now, I'm not gonna dive in and spoil it, but there's a certain heroic spirit that Shiro fights that is very similar way when it comes to like the stature, the way Shiro's standing towards him, and the way you see that displayed in this episode. I wonder if that was a nod to Fate-Stained Night, the Heaven's Feel route. I wonder if that is a nod, but I'm not gonna dive into certain details because I honestly don't want to spoil anyone, but it is just so freaking badass. It's so good. Okay. I'll stop. You know what? No. I'm gonna talk about one thing. So we already know that apparently in last week's episode that the female Gilgamesh, she was stating that Kuro is not using the Archer card properly, and I talked about this in last week's episode. Now we know now this is completely Shiro. He is here. He was locked up. It makes us question now, like, this man. For him, okay, to put up that much of a fight and make female Gilgamesh scared. I'm just like, yo, how strong is this man right now? How strong is Shiro right now to put up that good of a fight? I'm just so curious. I mean, yo, I am so hyped to see how strong this man is, see what level he is compared to all the Fate routes and all that. See if like he's on the Fate-Stained Night route, like, you know, the regular Fate route, or if he's on, you know, the Unlimited Blade Works route, like strength level, or is he on the Heaven's Feel strength level. I'm very curious to see what level of strength Shiro is on. But for you, this female Gilgamesh to be shitting a brick and all that from, you know, letting us know in last week that he wasn't using it properly, then we know Shiro must be crazy powerful in some way. Cannot wait to see. And what's very ironic about all of this in this episode, the one person that saved Shiro was someone you would never expect to see to save Shiro. That would be Gilgamesh himself, and then he saved Faker. You had to where the real actual thing saved Faker. I fucking saved him. It's just like, oh, it's so good. It's just so good. The final stuff of this episode is just so fucking good. Okay, enough of that. Let me get off of that. Let's talk about the mud that leaks out of this giant cube on top of Erica, and then also leaks over the entirety of the world, and you see these corrupted heroic spirits coming out. This is a very interesting scene, because there's a certain scene in the Fate Stay Night that kind of reminds me of this, and I don't know if this is exactly similar, because I'm not completely versed in the, Nazi-verse or whatever, but I'm just saying, though, that I'm curious if that mud that was leaking out of the cube is very similar to some things that happen in Fate Stay Night, but there was corrupted heroic spirits, and they were just completely, had madness. They wanted the Holy Grail, that's all they were seeking after, and they would continuously come. All these heroic spirits would continuously come until it gets what it wants, until Miyu is captured and all that. And it's a very deadly move, because these heroic spirits, apparently from what we found out with some brief information, is that they are the real, genuine deal. Like, they're the actual real heroic spirits. They're not fake imitations, like, these weak things or whatever, like we saw with these cards. They're strong heroic spirits, which that instantly makes them freaking scary. If they're at the level of a heroic spirit, these individual ones, that is insane. That is absolutely insane. And they will continuously come. Holy crap, that is absolutely insane with that terms of power and what Julian is doing with that giant cube. Just powerful stuff right there, being able to summon corrupted heroic spirits like that and to let them continuously pour out. That is terrifying. Now, past all that type of stuff, there is some stuff going on with Miyu and Illya, and there was a reunion in this episode, and honestly, that was a very sweet moment. It gave me a smile and happiness and all that, and it was just such a, heartfelt scene. You're like, oh, that's so adorable. Just they finally get back together and all that. You see it to where they finally found each other. You have to where Miyu was saved, Illya saved her and all that. Just a very good scene, and I mean, overall, the emotions of the episode, there was a lot of them. I mean, there was sadness, there was happiness, there was despair, there was just crazy hype moments. I mean, there was a lot of emotions mixed throughout this episode, and that scene, though, when you have it to where Miyu and Illya are in the sky and all that, and you see the flower petals and stuff, it made me very happy just to see how she was finally saved. And then we also have the stuff with Erica. Now, Erica's stuff, oh my! So, she has Miyu say something very cruel to her. She's asking me, like, we're friends, right? We're friends, and then Miyu's like, I know that the reason why she acts like she does is because she was, brought up thanks to the Ainsworth family. That's why she acts like this. And she's like, it's not really necessarily her fault. And then she states to her, like, no, I am not your friend. It was a very sad moment because I know Erica's not necessarily, innocent. She's not. But she's very naive. Like, she's a very naive girl because the way she has, been brought up as a child, it's something that caused her to be like she is. And it's just not necessarily her fault overall. I mean, she's not innocent, but it's not completely her fault. It's like, a child that was raised to hold a gun or something and then eventually became an assassin. That's kind of what this is. It's just like you're raised like that and you think it's the right way to live and you don't realize that's morally wrong. She doesn't realize that. It's kind of sad to see how she is and how Miyu just straight up says, no, I am not your friend. And the way she just got very sad and all that, and then eventually she had this mud drop on her. It makes me curious if she's dead or not. Like, if she's become corrupted, is she completely dead? I'm very curious exactly what happened to her in that scene. But whatever the case may be, though, the Erica stuff, that was pretty sad. I kind of feel bad for her to know she might be probably dead after that, because, I mean, look, when you have that type of stuff fall on top of you, and if that's what I think it is, and then her, corrupted heroic spirits coming out, kind of makes sense that she's probably dead as fuck. So, overall, though, it was a very good episode, very enjoyable, had a lot of good content, a lot of nods to previous Fate series and stuff, and I'm happy. I'm personally happy with this episode. Cannot wait to see next week's episode, because, man, when I saw that shield pop up, yeah! When I saw that shield pop up, I was just hyping. I was just jumping for joy, because I knew exactly who that was. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.